I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledged knowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawn. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena on. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, outcasted like hey ya.
Yo, pardon people in the place to be. What's good? It's number one Chief Rockin' Knicks Universal main man, Uncle Freezy. Welcome to the premiere Knicks in the Nighttime show, the Knicks at Night podcast. Salute to my people in the chat. I got my main man backstage ready to go. He is ready to go. Let me see if I got, does he have an intro? Let me see. Let me see if he has an intro. Let me see. Let's see if he has an intro. I thought I had one for him, but what's going on? Did he disappear? Yo, that's wild. What? I wonder what happened. Did YouTube ban him? Did YouTube ban? No, YouTube didn't ban him. Here he is. Yo, salute. Cowboy Bob in the building. What's good?
I'm happy, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute Uncle Freezy. Good evening. How y'all guys doing tonight?
Salute to the chat. Andios, Just Knicks. The son of the legend, Kerry Cox, is in the building. Justo11 is in the building. Okay. Allah Wise is in the building. Salute to the Bronx legend, Allah Wise. I'm sorry, the Brooklyn legend. The Brooklyn legend, Allah Wise. Will Salkin is in the building. Salute to all the members of the channel. Salute. Cowboy Bob, what's on your mind, bro?
Man, I got a lot, but I mean, it's a good victory. But what I'm seeing, I got a lot of questions to ask because playoffs is literally around the corner. So, yeah, I'm one of them people that even in a loss, I see more in a win. I mean, I see more wrong in a win than I do in a loss. So, for me, my first question is what happened to our bench, man? What's going on with our bench? We don't even have a 9-man rotation. We went to 8 now. Like, what's going on? Like, you let Sims dress up. He's not playing. You got Precious Achua on the bench. I'm like, basically what you're doing is you're exposing our offense to basically set up for playoffs, which is cool. But now teams are seeing what they can and can't do against Brunson. So, again, it goes back to coaching. You could trust the players, but you don't trust the bench. So what are we really doing, Tibbs? This is why I say it's like a lot of questions. Brunson has to score above 30. Josh Hart has to have a double-double with like 6 assists. Dante has to play both sides of the court. McBride, I don't know what happened to him. his defense stepped off. He's just been straight offense. Like, he's been trying to step up his three. I like how he's kept up the pressure and he's improved himself. Mitchell, he's still working on getting back in, boxing out. But OG, four fouls before the end of the first half? Like, what's going on, man?
Yes.
I mean, what Chicago was able to do, everybody's saying we can't keep up with pace. It's not that. If you watch the game, it's that we try to get into transition and we miss our shots and miss our offensive rebounds. When they get to this fast pace, our offensive rebounds get knocked out. Even if you look at today's game, they had 12 offensive rebounds to our 6, and they were within 9. So Chicago showed a lot of things that we had problems with. Like in the third quarter, like I said earlier, first quarter, third quarter, we struggled. DeMar DeRozan scored 12-plus points in the third quarter, started bringing them back.
Okay.
Also, so they out-rebound us with totally 31-39. They only had 3 players in double figures as far as points. So to me, it's like if they made 3 more field goals, 13 out of 19, that's 84%, and maybe 2 extra 3-pointers at 42%, the game would have been tied. But here's another thing: one of their players are down, so that 9 points that we won probably would have been different. But that's what I see as far as what we got to work on. Trust the bench, because it was okay when OG wasn't there. But now that OG's back and Mitchell was back, we're trying to incorporate something new when we should just stick to what we've been doing. Okay. Sorry for ranting.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what I've seen.
You know what I saw?
Brunson burn.
Y'all know what I saw? I saw Jalen Brunson is maybe the best player in the NBA right now. Right? I say that knowing that Luka is a baller. I say that knowing that Jokic is a baller. But you know what Luka and Jokic have that Brunson doesn't have?
A healthy team.
They have, there's that part, but they have a consistent number 2 that can bail them out when they go to the bench or when they have an off shooting night. See, the thing about Jalen Brunson is if Jalen Brunson have an off shooting night, the Knicks lose. Period. If Jalen Brunson gets off to a slow start, the Knicks lose. Period.
Yep.
If Jalen Brunson gets a bad matchup, the Knicks lose. Period. Right? See, when you watch the Denver Nuggets play, man, Jamal Murray takes over for long stretches of that game, man. When you watch Dallas, Kyrie is like taking over, and then Luka just makes amazing plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that part to it, man.
Okay. The consistency, like when Brunson's on the bench, who's going to be our guy to step up? I see what you're saying.
Right.
But I kind of think that's a good thing for us, because that's a Swiss Army technique. Like, you look at Josh Hart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If he gives you a double-double and Brunson's off, we're good. You know, we could still win, because he's a little bit on and off too, but he went 8 for 11 last game, and then now tonight he was on point too. So I see what you mean. We need the consistency.
No, yeah, I mean, probably. Maybe. I think all teams need that. What I'm saying is Jalen Brunson is by far the best Knicks guard we've had impact-wise in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know y'all will be like, man, I know y'all are thinking, yo, all Uncle Freezy doing is reading the paper. Uncle Freezy, all you doing is reading the paper. You ain't saying something that we don't know. I understand. Cowboy Bob, it would be easy to say, yo, all Uncle Freezy doing is reading the paper.
Mm-hmm.
The news is already out there. You just reading it out loud. Right? But my thing is when you watch tonight, Jalen Brunson looked like the best version of Jalen Brunson we've ever seen. And he made questionable decisions down the stretch, right? Like when you up by 10, do you need to take a three early in the shot clock? No, you don't. But he was feeling it.
What do you think?
You don't wear Kobe Bryant sneakers if you don't appreciate shooting the basketball.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. What are you gonna tell your top scorer not to shoot?
Right. The smart basketball play is work the clock, let everybody touch it, give the defense an opportunity to make a mistake. Right? You know, give the defense an opportunity to make a mistake, man. I mean, come on, it's the Bulls.
And
I'm not criticizing Jalen Brunson overall. I'm just saying, in 1 or 2 possessions, you're like, oh, okay, easy, big fella.
Like when he pulled up on that contested 3, I was like, what are you doing? And they hit the back of the rim and it was like, boom, and he's like, what? And then he ran to the rack, got the and one. It was like, and one. I was like, whoa, Brunson, I like the energy, but not from you. It should be coming from someone else. Like, because for you, we got to protect you.
Right. Yeah. Jalen Brunson is playing the best basketball he's ever played in his career. Right. Yeah. We won't dispute that. Jalen Brunson is by far the best Knicks guard we've had in about 50 years.
And the impact in 2 years is ridiculous. What he's done in the last 2 years, be able to actually, a lot of his passing has improved. You saw it tonight as well. He may not stand those assists, but he's looking to pass a lot more, and they're looking good. Like that pass he did, I think it was Hartenstein when he was under the basket. Hartenstein cut. He spun it back to. I was like, yo, that's actually a good pass.
Yeah, the way pass that basketball, man.
Yeah, he's showing that he has more in his bag, and that's what's scaring me. Because if this is only the beginning, we got another Melo in our hands, like that type of star level. But he's going to be worthy of it because he's a guard.
All right, let me ask you this. Chat, I'm gonna ask y'all this off the rip. Y'all tell me if it's too early, too late, or right on time. Is Jalen Brunson having a better impact on? Is it too early, too late, or right on time?
I say right on time because, to be honest with you, when Melo got here, we already was prepared with Amari, Melo. We was like, we got this. But then when Amari went down, Melo still was doing his thing, but we weren't winning. Now that Randall went down and Brunson's doing this thing and we're still winning, that difference here, and most people don't realize how hard it was for Melo or remember how many years of how he had to fight. I think that is going to be more appreciative of Brunson because 2 years' time, what he's able to do as far as develop his game and passing, getting everybody more involved, that's the difference between him and Melo. Plus, he's a guard, and he's doing exactly what Melo did offensively.
Right.
I say with next year, he might be on the same level as what Melo did for us because of the winning and because of the playoff push.
Okay.
But you are right, though. He's a superstar. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, Brunson's a megastar, bro.
Megastar, sorry. Yes.
Yeah,
he's Brunson's a superstar now, but he will be a megastar because this is ridiculous.
I'm thinking he's a megastar right now. He's 4th in the league in scoring. On a team that doesn't score that many points. His best player, second best player on the team is out due to injury. You don't know who's going to be the number 2 or number 3 guy on a nightly basis. You just hope the guys step up on a nightly basis, right? So is Jalen Brunson more impactful on the Knicks than Carmelo Anthony? Is it too early to say that? Is it too late to say it? Or are we right on time?
I'll say a little early.
Okay.
Because if we get to the EFC this year, then I'll be like, you know what, he's right on time. Because what he's able to do at his guard position and his skill set, I haven't seen someone do it as long than more than like 4 or 5 years outside of Steph. and I'm not saying he's that good. I don't know what he is, but he's showing improvement. And I'm telling you, if he has a long career of like 3-4 years of this, yeah, he'll be way ahead of Melo, because at EFC this year, if we make it, that's something that he really put his team on his back.
I'm gonna say Melo is more impactful right now because Melo walked into a team that sucked, right? Melo walked into a team that was trash, that was right at the very beginnings of trying to rebuild. They had just signed Amari. He was a good story. You know what I'm saying? And so the team was kind of built around Melo over the years, though their peak was a very low peak. Right? Brunson stepped into a playoff caliber team, right? So before Brunson, the Knicks made the playoffs one year and they missed the playoffs the next year because of injury. Remember Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle. A lot of people were injured in that 2021-2022 season, right? So that season, that 2022 season, the Knicks probably should have made the playoffs, but they got off to such a slow start and injuries just derailed everything. I think injuries just derailed everything.
I agree
Right.
with you.
Now, am I saying Carmelo is a better player? No, I'm not saying Carmelo Anthony is a better player than Jalen Brunson. No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of impact in the situation, in my view, and this is my view, you're entitled to your own opinion, and we'd like for you to share it with us. We'd like for you to share it with us. Share your opinion, please. Right? As long as as long as we ain't going off the rails or nothing. But I think Melo probably stepped into a poorer situation. Right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about the roster construction and what the team was like before he got here.
No point guard.
And what was added after he got here, and coaching stability, front office stability. Melo had less to work with.
That is true. Front
I
office
think Brunson had more to work with. But I think Brunson will reach higher heights than Melo. Right? Because our heartbreaking playoff loss was him turning the ball over to end the season. Even though that didn't really end the season, right? There was still time, all that stuff, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Melo had everything basically that he needed. That team just Melo's playoff. We think about that the Knicks tape loss as Carmelo Anthony with no lift getting stuffed at the rim by Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. Losing to that Indiana Pacers team was kind of embarrassing in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Us losing to Miami, it felt like we probably should have went further, but this team does have hope.
Yep. I you know what? That actually raises another question within itself to me. Is Brunson's success based off of what coaching and the front office working together? Is that helping him be better as far as success-wise with winning? Or is he really just this good and it's just turning out to be this way? Like it's because he's this good, it's them, as opposed to the front office going out making trades for OG, going out and getting, Precious Achua. Like, because if I think about it, if Melo had the same situation right now as Brunson, we would have won a championship. Like, if I'm thinking about it right now, based off of what you said, and I see why it's a disadvantage to Carmelo.
Right, and remember in that Indiana series, Tyson Chandler was hurt also.
Yep.
Right, Amari Stoudemire was hobbled. Also, but that was the peak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Anthony couldn't dunk on Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert was a stiff big that couldn't jump. I mean, Roy Hibbert was a decent NBA center for his time, right? But him ending the Knicks season, so to speak, sucking all the air out of the season for us, he should not have been the player to do that. Right?
Yeah.
If we're being honest, that Knicks team probably should have been able to beat or compete with the Derrick Rose Chicago Bulls or the LeBron James Miami Heat, but we couldn't.
Yeah. I just like I said, Brunson is that guy. He's taking. I think also what's making Brunson a little bit better right now is the 3-ball. Melo wasn't that high on the 3-ball like Brunson is, and again, Brunson is accurate too from there as well. So I think that's also giving him an edge. But overall, I think Melo had a bad shake, but because of that, we actually learned to appreciate Brunson. So
Right.
for me, I gotta say right now, Brunson's on the right path. I just have to see it one more year before I could say he's on that same level as Melo. Unless we win a championship or UFC this year, then I have to be like, because Melo, I know Melo didn't have that opportunity due to injuries. But if you do look now, Brunson has injuries. His second is gone. It's the same thing, but it's just a better front office and better coaching.
Right. Okay. Okay. I can kind of feel where you going with it.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I love Brunson, but I'm just saying, like, now talking to you, I think Melo is still that guy. He needs at least Brunson needs about another year to see where he's really at, because if he goes up even more next year, what are we really gonna say? What if he wins MVP next year, averaging 30 and giving out 8 assists, and we won 45 games just with him, and Randall comes back and we end up winning 55? You know what I'm saying? Like, Randall might come back late or whatever because of his injury. Now, what are we gonna say about Brunson? We're gonna have to say he is better than Melo because he stepped up over the years. The problem is the consistency. He's being worn down now like Melo was back then. It's just that Melo was more physical to me because he was down in the paint more and he was dealing on his mid-range, as opposed to Brunson, who's not better defensively, but is good at reading charges, good at cutting off passing lanes.
Yeah. I'm seesawing, kind of going back and forth on this thing. Like, I'm going back and forth on it like a cameo song. Well, I keep forgetting everybody's not an old fart. Let me see. I'm going back and forth like and Aaliyah. And y'all remember Aaliyah? I'm going back and forth like an Aaliyah song. Back, forth and forth. It's a tough thing to kind of fathom that Jalen Brunson and not quite 2 full seasons can be compared to Carmelo Anthony and maybe even Patrick Ewing.
Whoa.
Chat, can we compare Jalen Brunson's impact to Patrick Ewing?
No. Patrick Ewing averaged 30 points a game. Patrick Ewing was top 7. I mean, in 7 years, I think he was top 5 votes for MVP, and he was either the second or the third best center throughout the league when centers were dominating. I'm not taking anything away from Brunson, but if Brunson averages 30 by the end of the season,
yeah, that's impossible. Yeah, he's only got 3 games left, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, unless he has another
average, he'd have to average like 300 points a game.
Exactly.
So that won't happen.
But that's what I'm saying. When I see Brunson get a 30-point season, and then I can be like, okay, now we can start talking about Ewing. Ewing is like Godfather to me. Ewing and Mr. Frazier.
Yeah. I would say I'm gonna say this. As long as I've been alive, as long as I've been watching the Knicks and understand basketball. Now, I was alive when Clyde Frazier was here, right? But I was a little boy. I didn't know basketball. All I did was cheer and eat snacks, right? But what I'm saying is this: Jalen Brunson, since I've been old enough to understand basketball, is the best point guard. This 2-year stretch is the best 2-year stretch of point guard play that I've seen. Let's say since 1980. Since 1980, this is the best stretch of point guard play over a 2-year stretch for the Knicks.
Yes.
Chat, y'all disagree? Since about 1980, has there been a point guard in a 2-year stretch that is doing what Jalen Brunson is doing over a 2-year stretch?
I don't even think it's point guard. As far as the Knicks, no, I don't. I really can't think of any Knick player that is.
I'm talking about guard, maybe guard. Period.
Guard period. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say Steph because in 2015 and 2014, Steph those 2 years he did really well, and then 2016, everybody was like,
I'm talking about for the Knicks.
"Oh, for the Knicks now." For us, I honestly don't know. Like,
Yeah,
as
for
far as a
the
guard,
Knicks.
I don't think so. I mean, because you got to remember, like, I started in the 90s, so for me, it's like Childs, Starks, like those guys.
Yeah, I'm just talking about for the Knicks, everybody. Just for the Knicks, not in the NBA.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a Knicks guard that played this good and consistently good since 1980. I don't think so. Michael Ray Richardson was great, right? But I don't know. Michael Ray Richardson probably is more along the lines of, when you think about a point guard, Drew Holiday. Like, when you think Michael Ray Richardson, think a taller, more athletic, thinner Drew Holiday. Great defense, impactful in a lot of different ways. That's Michael Ray Richardson, right?
You can't even say Jamal Crawford because it's like Dante's doing better than him.
Yeah,
and I'm not even trying to knock Crawford. I actually liked him, but
and Crawford was flashy.
Yeah,
but his team used to lose a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So anybody you say can compete or done well, it's only pretty much for like a season at best. Even if you look at Lynn, that was like 3 weeks. So yeah, I don't think there's any point guard, but I don't think there's any player we had developed this well.
Talking about over a 2-year stretch since 1980? Nah.
Yeah. As far as development, but see, this is why I keep asking about coaching. Who is developing? Is it the actual players doing what they need to do to stay where they're at, or are they actually coaching them? Because to me, what Brunson's doing, you can't coach that. That's all him. The determination to know when to shoot, the determination to know when to get to the rack, know when to challenge plays. Like, he's doing that all on his own. So as far as coaching, where do we go with this? Do we actually move on from
Tibbs? It's definitely Tom Thibodeau.
It is Tibbs? Okay.
Yeah, it's Tibbs.
Okay. Because I like I said, I think it's Brunson, because last year that sting of him losing, like, I just see, like, they say he's very calm, cool, collective, but every time I see him on the interview, it's like I still see that light in his eye, like he's pissed about that. Like he got something to prove, which is good to have. But as far as coaching, I don't see it being Tibbs. And it has nothing to do with the rotation. It's because him and Tibbs, like, Tibbs will look at him and he'll be like, yo, I got it, and wave him off. So for me, it's like he understands enough to where Tibbs can trust him. So what are we really saying? Is it really Tibbs helped him out to get to where he's at? Or is he that good based off of what he did with Fever, based what he did off with all the hard work over the summer and playing now, stepping up?
I think it's Tibbs. And the reason why I'll say that is because the cats that have talent and have the drive to get better, Tibbs helps them get better.
Derrick Rose.
Right.
Go out there. I got you.
Right. And I think Ala Wise pointed it out in the comment. One of the comments, when I mentioned that if the Knicks traded for Donovan Mitchell, he'd be league MVP. Right. Now, think about this. Brunson, think about this, right? It's going to sound crazy, right? But Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell are about the same size. They're about the same size.
Yeah.
Both are short, stocky guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
right? One guard is an average athlete, average everything, but A+ craftiness. Jalen Brunson is the Larry Bird of short point guards. That's what it. Jalen Brunson is the Larry Bird of crafty point guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Donovan Mitchell is the Michael Jordan of short point guards. So one dude's archetype is the Larry Bird of 6'1" point guards, and the other is the Michael Jordan of 6'1" point guards, right? And my belief is that Tom Thibodeau would take either and make them league MVP. And how I know this is because Tom Thibodeau took another 6'2" stocky point guard and took him to the league MVP. Right? And so my thing is for this, and I'll say they're both 6'2". I don't care. I don't care about their height. I'm just trying to draw a reference, man. I don't care if they're 6'2", 6'3", 6'1". I don't care.
Both of them are under 6'4".
Right? Yeah, they're both short and stocky, right? Mm-hmm. They're both short and stocky. One is a average athlete at best, but very crafty, and the other is one of the most athletic guards in the league. One of the most explosive guards in the league. Like one is a dunk contest participant, superior athlete, and the other is not. Let me just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the athletic archetype, the Derrick Rose archetype, I think Donovan Mitchell is more of that type. And I think if he came here, bro, I honestly would say either Brunson or Donovan Mitchell would win the league MVP. They wouldn't cancel each other out either, right? They wouldn't cancel each other out because if you double team one, the other will kill you, right? Can you imagine having to double team Donovan Mitchell and leaving Jalen Brunson in 0 or 1 coverage? Jalen Brunson would average 45. If think about it, chat. Think about this. If you see how hard Jalen Brunson has to work to get 40 points a game, imagine if he had to work half as hard.
Make it look even easier.
Yeah.
And that's even crazy because you forget if we have those two guys and then Randall does come back, that's even worse. Someone's gonna take so advantage of that, and they're just gonna say, "Oh, it's more ISO ball." But I'm telling you, man, if Mitchell,
and Snipes Entertainment, a salute to Snipes too, by the way. Hey, Snipes, hey, salute, man. We glad you in here. Salute. Snipes says, you don't think Rose was already world talent? Well, that's the thing. See, world talent, like all world talent and all world skills are one thing, but being the complete package is what makes you the MVP, right? Having to think the game, knowing situation, time and score, when to attack, how to manipulate defense and all that. Think about it. Think about how many all-world physical talents that you've seen coming. Listen, man, if Obi Toppin had Luka Doncic's skills, that player would be the greatest player of all time. Yeah. Right? Think about if Obi Toppin had the skill set and other things of getting, you know what? I won't even go that far. If Obi Toppin had Jalen Brunson's skills, man, we were talking about Jason Tatum. Well, no, I won't even go there. Because I think Brunson is better than Tatum at the moment. At the moment, I think Brunson is better than Tatum, right? But if a all-world uber talent, Cam Reddish, what if Jalen Brunson had Cam Reddish's physical abilities?
Or just his height.
or just his height.
It's
Right.
it's a wrap. No more him, man. All those 6'4" guards like they did with Alex Caruso tonight, trying to switch on him, give him the small forwards.
Right.
You get Brunson 6'4", 6'5", man. He'll be dunking on people. Matter of fact, him and Mitchell will be playing similar. He'll be driving to the rack more, dunking on people.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Jalen Brunson is the best guard that we've had since 1980. I don't want to go past 1980. Like, listen, man, I don't want to go back 50 years. I don't want to go back 50 years of stuff. But Jalen Brunson, I think it's time. I think it's high time that we started giving Jalen Brunson credit for the player that he is. I didn't always do that in the very beginning because, no one knew that Jalen Brunson was going to be this when he got here.
After 2 years, especially, yeah.
Yeah. But once we got to December of 2022, we kind of knew that we were looking at something special. But to be honest with you, we still have not. I honestly believe Jalen Brunson has not reached his full potential.
I agree.
I think Jalen Brunson is in a skyscraper that has not reached the penthouse.
He's like still on the elevator.
Yeah, like there are others. Like I think Dante DiVincenzo has probably reached a place where he'll be this type of player for the next 6 or 7 years. He'll probably be this. I think Dante will be this type of player for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
I think Josh Hart. Yeah, Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart will be this type. What you see tonight, right? Josh Hart is going to be this for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. Jalen Brunson, however, I think there are floors in this skyscraper that Jalen Brunson has not reached yet.
I think he's still rebuilding his penthouse. That's what's taking so long. He's extending it. Like the passing, the 3-point shooting, knowing when to take attack, when to pass out. His IQ has grown over the last 2 years to where if he keep working at it, this guy's going to be averaging, and I'm not trying to knock him, but I'm thinking like 29, 30 points a game with like 9 or 10 assists.
Right.
That's dangerous. That's almost like Luka pretty much. And I think and that's why I keep saying I don't know if it was Tibbs because Luka is balling. He came from there, and Dallas. I don't know something about their guards. Their guards always play well. So if it's clicking for us, yeah, I think Brunson is gonna be that guy that could give us 29 to 30 points a game, and next year and can give us like 10 assists as well as maybe 1 or 2 turnovers as well as far as steals. Because he's been doing that too. Like tonight, he's been attacking the ball as opposed to taking charges.
Right. Okay.
I think, like I said, I like Brunson. If he could stick to the 2 steals a game, less charges, and maybe like 1 or 2 charges, we're good. Because that's what we need to transition. And that's crazy. A lot of times when he's on the court and he's missing his shots, most people don't give him credit for getting involved on defense or creating an assist that like he'll get the ball into transition past the one person. They may not get the pass off quick enough because they got to do a head fake and kick it out, and then we'll score. He won't get points for that, but he does that as well when he's off. So if he could do that, and then Randall could just come in and play smoothly, and Randall could give us 20 points, and then OG, because he's giving us 16, like everything will be clicking, and we would have a 3-headed monster that people would be like, yo, it's Brunson. And then when that happens, I'll agree. Like, you know what? It is Brunson. Randall can step down. He could be the second or third option. But I'm telling you, it's magic right now, man.
Yeah. And Justo, thank you for the generous contribution. Justo, we miss you, brother. We need for you to come back on the panel. Justo says Brunson getting MVP chance in away arenas like he's Kobe or LeBron or something. His impact is a lot bigger than what we think. He's only going to get better. I agree. And I agree with you, Justo. I agree. It's the point. I'm co-signing your point. And Bricks Nation says, I feel the same way about Deuce. Yeah, man. I can see Deuce getting better every day, bro. Deuce is going to surprise a lot of people. right? And ironically, we're talking about another stocky 6'2" guard, and Deuce McBride.
You can play defense and shoot the three.
Right.
It's crazy. That's the thing. That's the beauty about this team. We got 5 guys that can shoot above 35% from three at any given night.
Right.
That's crazy. It's just, to me, it's beautiful. And if Brunson is doing what he's doing, I think he could be a great conductor in this orchestra.
Yeah. I think. I think. I agree with you with what you're saying. I think Tom Thibodeau has been pressing the right buttons. Right. I think Tom Thibodeau can take a 6'2" scoring machine and turn them into the league MVP. And the reason why I have confidence in that he can do it is because I've seen him do it before. Right. I've just seen Tibbs do it before.
But then that's the negative side to it too. We've seen him also not make it to the finals and win a championship.
Right.
That's the double-edged sword. Like right now, I like what Tibbs is doing. I saw this team before the trades as 51 teams. So for me, we still can get to that goal. And I think that it's because of Tibbs.
Whoa. Easy.
Look, I'm trying to read.
Wait a minute.
Last graph.
Let me find a meme. Do we have a meme for what Cowboy Bob just said? Do we have a meme for what Cowboy Bob just said? Let me find one. I gotta find something. I gotta find something.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Look, I'm
Cowboy
a
Bob said this is a 60-win team. Yo, chat. Who was the only person that said this is a 60-win team?
You.
Somebody.
If we're healthy, we are. Technically, let's be real, because that 8-10, that run that we had, if we had Randall, we would have won for like 7 more games.
Yeah.
Because we lost by 20.
Yeah.
So you were right. It's just injuries. Maybe a year early, that's all.
Right.
But for me, I think he needs to get the 50 wins in the ELC so he can get the extension, because even though he did what he did and it's good, a lot of people at some point are going to be like, yo, when is enough? He's done this for 4 years. And that's another thing. I think not just Brunson. I think Tibbs is who's the best coach we've had since the 80s in the last 4 years, and has been here for 4 years and had the success he had. Yeah. 3 years playoffs.
I'm not going to rank Tibbs number 1 right now.
No.
Yeah, well, what I'll do since 1980, I'm going to say, and I know this is going to not seem fair, and I'm not saying this to not be fair to Tom Thibodeau, right? But Pat Riley was a better coach than Tom Thibodeau.
Fair enough.
And for the moment, I'm going to say Jeff Van Gundy was a better coach than Tom Thibodeau. For the moment, not forever. And y'all know I don't like, no disrespect to Jeff Van Gundy. I'm just not a Jeff Van Gundy fan. Right? I'm just not a Jeff. I know that no man knows more basketball than whatever. It's hard for me to, as a man, it's hard for me to back another man that quits like that
and goes to Boston.
Right? Yeah. I just, and no disrespect to Van Gundy, because I understand part of the circumstances here in New York, where New York didn't really even want him. They wanted Phil Jackson. I understand that. But I believe in the standing your ground thing. Listen, you hear? Just do the best you can do. Man, the pressure is too hot for you. Just say the pressure is too hot for you, bro.
True.
Right? That's my thing. Jeff Van Gundy quit on the Knicks and on the Houston Rockets. Right? It make me think I can't really, But
I think I agree with you with Pat. I forgot about him. But Van Gundy, because he quit, that's one of the things I have against him. But I believed in Van Gundy when he was here. In 4 years, though, I think Tibbs in the last 20 years is a really good coach. I don't know any other coach that has come to a team in 4 years and brought them 3 years into the playoffs and has improved.
I understand that, but at the same time, Tom Thibodeau hasn't coached a team to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I want him to have that one more year if we don't make it.
How about get the Knicks to 2 Eastern Conference Finals, like Jeff Van Gundy did, and then we can have that conversation.
Respect, I could do that.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like for what we like and dislike about Van Gundy, Van Gundy got the team. I think it was him that got the team in 2000 to the Eastern Conference Finals where we lost to Indiana, right? And then he got us to the NBA Finals where we lost to San Antonio. So no disrespect to Tom Thibodeau or to Van Gundy on the coaching thing, right? On the coaching thing, I think Van Gundy accomplished more as the Knicks coach than Tom Thibodeau has accomplished as the Knicks coach. And there's no shade on either. We're just doing a ranking system, whereas in my mind is Pat Riley, Van Gundy, and at 3, I think it's a tie. I think it's a tie between Tibbs and Hubie Brown. And if you absolutely hold my feet to the fire about Tibbs and Hubie Brown, I'll take Tibbs over Hubie Brown because Tibbs seems to have.
I was gonna ask, what's the difference between him and Mr. Brown? Because to me,
I think they're the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just think that Tibbs is just getting better because of the 3 ball. Like, maybe the consistency or it being what they call it, recency bias.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the first.
So if it's recency bias, I'll take it. If I'm being accused of recency bias, I'll admit it's recency bias.
Yeah. For me, that's what it was because I forgot about Pat and Van Gundy and Mr. Brown. So yeah, for me, it was recency bias because I'm sorry. How many years have we missed the playoffs? How many coaches have we ran through mid-season or kept a coach that was bad for us, even though we thought it was good for us?
Right.
So for me, I'm just thankful we had Tibbs for the time he's been here. I think he deserves one more year. He has to have that one more year. I want him to win a ring at least.
I'm not disputing that with you either. I think Tibbs has done an outstanding job. I think sometimes he gets a bad rap because of the adjustments that fans want him to make that he won't make. Yeah. And as fans, if you don't give us what we want, we'll turn on you. It's just how it is.
But I actually think that that's how management is. Let's be real. Everyone wants more from Tibbs. Like, tell us what it is about this person. Tell us more. He's just like, look, guys, this is what I could say. Let's just leave it at that. Unless he feels really strong about the issue. But for the most part, he just keeps to himself, and we want more from him. To be honest, I think as fans, our expectations are higher than what they really are. As far as Tibbs, like, we feel he can do more, he can do better because of what he's able to do, but they don't really see the pressure of how hard it is to win with injuries.
Okay. I agree. How important is this game versus Boston coming up?
Oh, this game was very important because to me, I expected Boston is the number 1 team. So they could rest or play us, whatever. But for me, the Boston game was for me to figure out if we can hold our own against them with the team we had. So I wasn't expecting us to win against Boston. But this game and the last Chicago game, we should have won. I felt teams like Chicago, the last 3 games we have is Boston, Nets, and Chicago. We should go 2-1. I think Boston, regardless of how well we play, unless they go to their second team or their bench in the second half, we really don't have a chance because Kristaps Porzingis, like, he's gonna stop our heart. It's like they have a lot of things that can match up with our offense better.
Okay.
So for me, the win tonight was more important because we had to set an example to Chicago. They're the last game of the season, and they have to come out and play their best, and that'll help us to prepare for the playoffs.
Okay, so we have Boston Thursday on TNT, and then we have Brooklyn Friday, and then Chicago Sunday, and that'll be it for the season.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad we get tomorrow off, but man, I can't. I want to see how we are going to be against Boston. I think Boston's going to take us lightly, and we might come close. and we might actually win, which would be awesome for us because that's what we kind of do need to get that push to see where we're at. But Tibbs, man, you got to use your bench against Boston. They're gonna attack OG like the same way that they did tonight. The Bulls did tonight. We can't get him into foul trouble.
Right.
So like that, he's aggressive. I don't know what it is. Like the last few games I've seen him, he's been reaching more as opposed to setting his feet.
Right.
So I don't know what's up with OG, but if he has the same problems or issues that he had tonight with the fouls, we're gonna be in serious trouble. I like this offense. I like that he came out early and was going downhill and scored 7 of our first 9 points.
Right.
But he was actually amazing. I think he only missed 2 shots in the first half. He was doing really well. So that's what we need.
I still think he's about 50% right now. That because he was very handsy tonight on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we can get OG back to about 70% by the time the playoffs start, I think somebody in trouble, man.
Not just trouble, but gator trouble. Where you got to watch your back 24/7 because that man, he did, and that's another thing I got to give him credit for. He did shut down DeRozan.
When he guarded DeRozan looked different.
Yeah, and then that's why in the third quarter DeRozan started to get into his rhythm, and when they tried to put OG
when Josh Hart guarded him, he just did whatever he felt like doing. He was too big and strong for.
And he kept falling for them head fakes. He kept falling for them head fakes. So it's like for OG, I want to say because of OG's height and size, he's able to just get his hand up and actually be a good defender against DeRozan. But all those points that DeRozan got in the third was with Josh Hart on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another thing that, like those little nicks that I don't like about Hart. Hart is a great player. I love him, but dude, it's DeRozan, king of the mid range. Don't be falling for those guys.
They say that's your guy. Josh Hart is your guy.
Yeah, I know.
Gus Johnson called him Lionheart tonight.
Yeah.
he either called him Braveheart or Lionheart. One of those. When he said it, I was thinking Uchiwali. When he said it, I was thinking Uchiwali. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah,
they called him Lionheart. They was like, Lionheart, Lion versus 4 Bulls. I was like, what? No, you ain't say that.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, he that's what I'm saying. Like, if he plays like how he's been playing, we're good. And it's a surprise because nobody really thought he would. Don't get me wrong, we all knew he was a great rebounder, but what he's contributing, offense, facilitating, creating for others, passing, I'm actually surprised.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I tell everybody we don't need to add anybody really. We just need to be healthy because what everybody's able to do to step up and actually hold it down when we were injured. I think that if we have them when we're healthy, they can still contribute the same, but just not as much time. For example, Brunson playing 40 minutes again tonight. Josh Hart playing 40 minutes tonight. Like, if we can get the same production with them doing 30 minutes, maybe 28 minutes, come on.
Hey, y'all, I'm gonna do something. I'll be right back. Cowboy Bob gonna hold him. Gonna take the mic for a few minutes. I'll be right back, y'all.
So, how y'all guys doing? I can't really read the chat. Just give me a second. I'm gonna read the chat real quick. But I do want to say that I feel that the Knicks have a good chance against Boston. The one thing that Boston has that we really don't have that much is the actual transition of the pace. When we get into rebound issues like we did tonight, Boston can take advantage of it to where their offensive rebounds would be second chance opportunities. Like tonight, where the Bulls had 12 offensive rebounds, if we were to do that to Boston, I think that they would turn those into actual points, like 10, like a good 10 of those they'll make out of the 12. Also, as well as not just the transition, but the fouling. For some reason, Boston seems to get a lot more calls on the offensive end when it comes to fouling. And if they get to the foul line, we're going to have a lot of issues. So for me, the most things we need to do is just focus on our defense and try to control the pace. Not playing to their game, because if you notice, like tonight, we were running with pace with the Bulls when they were coming back from a 7-0. They had a 7-0 run. They shot a 3, 2 quick baskets under the rim, and we missed our shots. So if we can capitalize on their pace and actually slow the game down, then we're good. Also, as well as with Boston, I don't think that they see us as a real threat because we're injured and they are the number one team. So for me, it's like we have to at least get a win off of them to prove something better than what we are because this team has stepped up in every aspect of what we need to do. But I still want to see Mitchell, not Mr. Mitchell, to go ahead. I want to see him make sure that he's good. I want to make sure that he's involved. OG, please stop it with the reaching. I'd rather have Precious in, and I would use Precious more in the beginning. Like let OG start 5 minutes and then use Precious later on. See where he's at. Try if he gets 2 quick fouls, then you can bring back OG. But or use Josh Hart in that scenario. Don't start Hart because I really feel that OG with these fouls, if this happens in the playoffs, we're done. We need this guy to be there. Josh Hart, please be consistent. But with that being said, you got to worry about Brown. How are you going to stop Brown? OG can stop Tatum, but then who's going to stop Brown? So for us, what we need to do is the thing is with Josh Hart, we need you to stop falling for head fakes when you're under the basket. I'd rather you let them shoot because Boston is also good for and ones as well when they get into the mid range. Let them shoot. Go straight up if you feel you got it, but don't go for the contact and don't lean into it. We can rely on you for that, then we're good. But exposing our offense has been the last, I don't know, 10 to 15 games when we started with the 4-man rotation. I feel like that right there is what really is killing us because the 4 guard rotation is a good thing, but everybody's getting tired quicker. We're not seeing the full production of our actual team. So for me, I want more balance. Use the bench. But just give me one quick sec. I'm going to read the chat. I want to see what you guys think. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, you're right, Alawise. I am over focused on Boston. I want the 50 wins, man. I'm sorry. I want to win out the last 3 games. So for me, yeah, I gotta do that. But if Boston, oh snap, Sports Entertainment Snipes Entertainment says Boston will have problems with Orlando. I agree. Most people don't even know about Jonathan Isaac's 10 minutes of defense. I learned that the hard way. That guy can play, and you don't really need him to be playing a full game. He could come in the third quarter. He could come in the fourth quarter. He could shut anything down for 10 minutes, and that's very dangerous. And with Boston, when their offense isn't kicking, they're going to have a very bad issue because their defense isn't as good as it was to me last year. So maybe you guys are right. Alawai said, no, as fans, you think you can coach better than Tibbs. Heck no. I don't think I could coach better than Tibbs. I'm actually honestly telling you what I've seen from Tibbs and what I've seen it work and why he doesn't go back to it. That's what I'm bringing up. I don't think I could teach anything that Tibbs can. All I'm doing is just taking what you've shown me and say, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. You were creative here, even though you were forced in the situation, use it. What's wrong with trying something that worked before? Tatum chase. And then everybody thinks that Tatum chokes. I don't think Tatum chokes. I just think that Tatum has to do way more. Sort of like how if you look at Brunson right now, where Brunson's doing a lot. Brunson's doing a lot for us to win. But if you look at Tatum, Tatum has to do way more than Brunson does. So for me, Tatum doesn't choke. It's just that his responsibility has been the same since basically the last 6 years, and he's grown and developed defensively and offensively. I know Boston isn't a lock in the first seed, and they're not going to go 100%. That's what I'm saying. I think that we can win the next 3 games and close out at 50 wins. I'm not sitting here trying to analyze the game. I feel that we have an opportunity to get Tibbs to 50 wins. We still have an opportunity to EFC with the way we're playing, and we can do anything. Knicks struck out on the... Okay, I got a question. I really want to know something. Hit him up, just ask. Knicks struck out on the DeJounte Murray trade. They're not playing Burks anyway. What do you guys really like about DeJounte Murray's game with this team? I don't think it would work. The defense isn't there. I don't think that he would be able to do anything that can contribute defensively with what we have. And I also don't feel that what he can contribute as far as offense, if Brunson isn't there, I agree. If Brunson's on the bench and he's running the offense, we're good. But what I'm gonna say is when they're both on the court, are they gonna be impactful? I think Donovan Mitchell has a better chance of feeding off of Brunson because he's worked with Garland. He's worked as a guy who can be a second option when he had Gobert in Utah. So for me, I think Donovan Mitchell would be a better choice than DeJounte Murray. Because DeJounte Murray can go off, but look at how he's playing with Trey. He only has really good games when Trey Young is either off or when Trey Young is actually not on the court. So what are we really gonna say? Is he gonna be doing what Brunson's doing? Randall's not on the court, only showing his superstar when our superstar is off the court. Murray's a great player, but the system we have includes defense, it includes passing and ball rotation. And the speed that we're playing at, I don't think that Murray can help us 1,000%. In the clutch, Tatum is 25 out of 25 players who's taking the most shots in the clutch. Okay, just a 1-1. Good point. But then again, that goes to say, if he's your best player, you're gonna tell him not to. That's not fair. You can't. Would you tell Brunson not to shoot? Would you tell Dante not to shoot? Even when you saw Dante had the opportunity to shoot at a three, he passed it and then had an even wider open look and still missed. And most people would have said, yo, you should have took the first shot. What are you going to really tell your best player? Everything is built around and off of Tatum's game because if y'all remember, they thought Brown was better than Tatum. The Bucks just beat Boston and they can't move the ball against us. Okay, Snipes Entertainment. The Bucks just beat Boston and they can't move the ball against us. Good point. Our ball movement tonight and most games have been improving, but I also think that that's also a negative towards us because a lot of the games where we were struggling, we were passing 4 or 5 times, and the ball would be still in the extra 1 or 2 passes with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. You saw it tonight as well. We had shot clock violations because of the extra passes and the quick movements. We need to know, hey, 5 passes here, 7 passes here in certain plays. We can't keep getting close to the rack and then the defense collapse on us and then we pass out for a 3. That's not always going to work. We have to find a middle ground to where we can pass out to a mid-range like we did with Hartenstein. When Josh Hart got to the basket and he went for a head fake, 4 guys jumped up, kicked it out to Hartenstein. That's what we need more of before we can incorporate the 3 ball. So, yeah, you're right about them moving the balls against us, but that's the pace of play also as well that can also be our chip in our armor. To where if our shots ain't hitting, we have a problem. Even if you look at tonight's game, we were 55% from the field goal, 47% from 3. We were hitting, but we still won only by 9. So you're right about Boston not being able to move the ball with us. But for me, if Chicago, who doesn't have the play set or the skill set as Boston, can be this close with our defense and what we have, we still have to worry. Oh, Paul George. Okay. Just a 1-1. Let me ask you a question. How is Paul George the best choice? Because for me, what I saw, I don't think so. I'm actually more inclined to DeRozan. And if we're gonna go as far as like not as far as guards and we get a small forward, I would look at DeRozan. Like, don't get me wrong, I like OG. DeRozan, the reason why I want DeRozan is because what I just said, we need someone who could just hit that mid-range when he gets the ball, just hit it to start opening up, not be scared to actually take the shot and not have to give 2, 3 extra passes. Even though you get the ball, Hart drives to the basket, he'll kick it out, run around for a play, and get it back 2, 3 seconds later. What was all of that running around for? Wasted energy. We got to find a way to actually do things better, and I think that DeMar DeRozan with his mid-range, when Brunson's off the court, he step up. I think he's a better choice than Paul George. Plus, he's also healthy, and he loves the mid-range. He plays right in. He would be a perfect piece for us as far as that. Hit him up, said Brunson needs help, not enough scoring power. What do you mean by he needs help? You mean he needs help with offense, and that's it? Because if that's the case, then we're gonna lose out on what we already have. Everything that you guys are seeing, these guys built it this year. So this is all still new. If we start worrying about the left side and fixing the left side, now we got to go back to the right side and fix that side too. And then we'll be back to where we were. Let's double down and figure out what we're doing and then keep it moving because I don't think Paul George is the best choice. I think we need a guy like a DeMar DeRozan who could hit down the mid-range, get us there because these extra passes, shot clock violations, missed opportunities on rebounds and three-pointers, and our offense is lackluster when Brunson's out. Oh, we do have a guy like that. His name was Randall. I'm sorry. What's up, Unc? You good?
No.
Oh man.
I thought I heard you say you prefer DeMar DeRozan over Paul George. My ears
No. You heard right. I think that's why your ears started tingling. I was talking about as far as offense.
Though. Like that, I understand the preference.
Yeah. I'm not knocking Paul George. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great guy, but for me, a guy like DeRozan can come in, just hit 20 points, we're good. And that'll be perfect.
What position is he gonna play?
That's the problem. That's why I said if you get rid of OG, I'd put him at the small forward.
So we gotta get rid of OG and Anunoby?
No, I said it if we don't sign him. Because the thing is I think he's asking for like 32 to 40 mil.
Pay it.
So you're gonna pay that?
Yeah, I'm paying it.
Really?
Yeah.
With no backup small forward at his position or no two guard and no real center.
All those things apply whether you sign them or not.
But
right? Because think about it. If you let OG and Anunoby walk, who's the power forward? Who's the small forward that you had groomed, the young small forward that's coming off the bench to replace OG if you let him walk? You don't have one. Right?
Oh.
Right. So regardless of how you view it, you're not gonna have a small forward anyway. OG and Anunoby is gonna get paid. We're gonna cut the check and y'all gonna like it. We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You're gonna trade away a second-round pick, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly for nothing.
That is true.
If you don't re-sign OG and Anunoby, right?
Plus, everybody loves them already, so it doesn't matter. Like, even tonight, everybody was like, "Oh, OG's back." So yeah, to mess up that credibility and what he brings to help us. I'm just saying 40 mil.
Pay it.
Then that mean, are we gonna re-sign Randall? Like, that's what I'm worried about.
Randall got 2 years left on his deal.
40 mil, man. Damn. I mean, Brunson gonna get 50 at least. But that's
if he gets, and I think I saw this on Knicks Film School, so I want to credit Jonathan Macri if this is right. I think I saw it on because I watched a bunch of post game shows before we came on.
Mm-hmm.
But if Brunson accepts a contract extension this summer, he can only get 40% more than the largest sum of his final year. So it's like 40 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically Brunson to be 4 years, 160.
Okay.
Right? So Brunson to be 4 years, 160. Right? And if the same thing is true for Randall, right? And salute to Alberto, Mr. Ramos was good. Right? If the same thing is true for Randall can only get the 40% more of his final year, which will also be about 40 mil. Right? So now you're talking about Randall getting 4 for 160 or something like that. If that's right, I'm not for sure. I mean, they may be different. Randall may be able to get like a 5th year. Randall may be able to get like 5 for 200. Randall might be able to get like 5 for 220 or something like that. That based on all-star appearances and all NBAs and all of that. But the Knicks aren't going to be backed into a corner like we think they will, right? And then plus you have Burks's 10 mil coming off. You'll probably look at trading Bogey, right? To a lottery team that needs scoring. They'll probably trade Bogey to someone like the Wizards or something. Somebody that needs a veteran scorer, somebody that needs to meet the salary cap floor.
Sims too.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. They'll make room. If they can make it work, then yeah, I'd pay OG because don't get me wrong, it's exciting to watch them. It's just I don't know which direction they're really gonna go because if we keep
But if you
OG,
sign DeRozan, where are you gonna play DeRozan at?
true. That's what I'm saying. Like I kind
Are
of put
you
my foot
are
in
you
my
gonna
mouth on that one.
is DeMar DeRozan does DeMar DeRozan put us over the top?
I say yes.
Because you're gonna have to pay him somewhere between 35 and 40 million.
You know what?
Do you want to pay DeMar DeRozan 40 million? Because if you paying DeRozan 40 million
You might as well play
and
OG.
have a question about an OG Anunoby that's 10 years younger.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about that with OG. Like because the thing is for me with OG, he's a championship guy. I love what he gives. He's done everything we asked for, but I'm more worried about if we can solidify everyone. But the way you explained it, let's go ahead and sign him.
Yeah.
Because
my thing is this. I want to ask you this: how far in the future are you thinking about this championship window? Is this a 1 to 2 year championship window, or is this a 6 to 7 year championship window?
I was saying 3 to 4.
Those weren't the options. The options were 1 to 2 or 6 to 7.
Okay, give me one quick sec. The business moves, Leon Rose, head coaching. 6 to 7.
Right, because in 6 years, Jalen Brunson will be 34.
Yeah.
Right. And think about it, in 3 years, Jalen Brunson will be 31. Wouldn't you still feel like he was still in his window?
Yeah.
Right. Chat, am I wrong for thinking that, chat? I mean,
Especially,
why would I give up on a 31-year-old Jalen Brunson?
especially if he's ascending now. He hasn't even hit his peak yet.
Yeah.
So even if he hits his peak 2 years from now and drops a little bit, that's still better than what we expected because he'll be playing pretty much the way he's been playing this year.
Right.
But just that 31 or 32.
Right. Because think about it, in that 6 to 7 year window, OG will be about 34.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna give up on OG Anunoby at age 31? Nah, we ain't giving up on OG at age 31. That's premature.
I see what you're saying.
That's premature. So do you give this team as currently constructed 2 years to figure it out?
No.
And then go in a different direction? Or do you try to extend this window for the next 6 to 7 years by getting somebody the same age as Brunson or thereabout? Maybe seeing if you can finagle a Devin Booker from somewhere where you can have him for the next 5 to 6 years, or a player around their age. Hartenstein's their age, Mitch is their age, Brunson's that age, OG's that age.
Dante.
Randall is a little bit older. Randall's a little bit older than them, maybe 2 or 3 years older, but so is Josh Hart.
Yeah.
But Dante, I think, is maybe their age or a little bit older. Right? Do you say, hey, listen, y'all, I'm gonna give y'all 2 more years after this one to figure it out. If not, we're just gonna go in a different direction. Or do you say, hey, man, for the next 6 to 7 years, this is who we have?
Next 7 years, this is who we have. Because to be honest with you, it looks really good right now. And 6, 7 years with health and everything, we're gonna be competing. And that's what we kind of do need, because as long it's like that old song, it doesn't matter how you get there, just get there. Like that. And the way the Knicks play physical and the way we dog fights, I think we can. You go 6, 7 years, we win in 2 to 3 championships.
Yeah. I feel, and honestly, I don't know what the answer to the question is. I think logically, from an organizational standpoint, if you say 1 to 2 years, you just want to say, if you take the 1 to 2 years route, then basically what you're saying is, I want to see if this team is capable But if they're not capable, if they're just a second round team, I don't want to be locked into a second round team for the next 6 or 7 years. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if you believe this team is a championship contender, right, then you want to be locked in for the next 6 to 7 years and not have to worry about the salary cap and all of that stuff. You want to be able to keep that championship core intact for the next 6 to 7 years. Now, you're not going to give anybody a 6-year contract, a 7-year contract, because you can't. But what you do is maintain pliability, right, for the next 6 to 7 years for the guys that you have, right? And if a guy ages out, say you have a $20 million slot, and say a guy ages out, like say Josh Hart ages out, right? Then you can bring in another guy in that Josh Hart slot because you planned the next 6 or 7 years for that player. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, they did it. They did it this year. You could literally see that they did it this year. And the last 2 years, Josh Hart trade getting rid of Reddish, Precious, OG, Bogues, Burks. Like if this is what they're doing to make us better, imagine us doing this for 6 years. Of course, we're going to win more. Because what you're doing, if you do it in a 1 or 2 year period, to me, you're just following a trend. You're not really understanding the full success. I could understand different coaches in the 6 years. Maybe Brian steps up for 4 of those years. That's cool. But the system and everything needs to stay intact. And if you think that it could work for 1 or 2 years, then you're cutting Brunson's superstardom short and you're selling a team short, because if Randall wants to stay, OG wants to stay, why would you get rid of guys that came here and are hungry? You're basically turning your back on the guys that brought you to the dance.
They got you to the dance, yeah.
So for me, I want that 6 or 7, because next East, I don't even care if we win 6 or 7 years of us getting to the finals, I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
Because to be honest, Tibbs, front office, everything on the same page, it looks different to where we can be successful. And if what we have at the bottom, where we have Jeremy Lin, Mr. Bryant, all these coaches developing and doing well, oh man, I want to see what it's like in 6 years. I can't wait.
Yeah. And the thing is not to pigeonhole you, right? Or pigeonhole the chat and get them into like one thing versus the other, but you clearly want to see if Jalen Brunson and crew are a championship level contender. And over the next 1 to 2 years, if they get to the second round and lose to Miami this year, right? And then next year they get to the second round and then they lose to Miami or Philly, right? You're like, oh, okay. We may have to make a change, right? You have to consider it. And then the year after that, if you make it to the second round and you don't get over the hump, you may be in a situation where you're like, okay, this is a second round team. We've reached this team won't go any farther, whichever word applies right there, right? In the Queen's English, right? So if you get to a point where you can't get over the hump, but you're locked in for 3 more years, now you're frustrated that you can't get over the hump, but you have 3 more years of this plan and you don't have the maneuverability because you locked in for 6 or 7 years. But if you're locked in for the 1 or 2 years, you're like, okay, let's see how far we can go in these 1 to 2 years, right? And then if, say for instance, in the next year or two, and I'm talking about after this one, the next year or two after this one, say you make the conference finals or the NBA finals, right? Which is the opposite of what I said initially, right? Say you make the finals or the NBA finals, which is the opposite of what I just spoke to 10 minutes ago, right? Say there's promise. Then being locked into that 6 or 7 window is promising. It's kind of like being the Celtics right now, where the Celtics have Tatum and Brown and Holiday and Porzingis and Derek White all locked in for the intermediate term, where they can ride out Jaylen Brown and the rest of Jaylen Brown and the rest of Jason Tatum's career, chasing championships.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's that part of it. If you're Leon Rose has a difficult job, man.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm glad I'm not a coach and I'm glad I'm not in the front office. Thank you guys for giving us a good product.
Right. And Alberto says, for this year and with this team right now, I'm not afraid of anybody except Austin next year when we are full strength with Randall and maybe get one more length of a forward. I believe we can go to to the finals. Oh, he must be using talk to text. Okay, all right. No, I got you, Albert. I know you meant Boston. We know you meant Boston. So yeah. The thing is what Cowboy Bob is comfortable with. Because if you make the DeMar DeRozan decision, you're definitely thinking that 1 to 2 year window. Because DeMar DeRozan is not going to be in the league for the next 6 or 7 years.
No. But that's another reason why I said about Murray. If you do that, are you going to lock in with a guy like Murray? Now you lock in with a Murray. Is OG going to stay? Is Randall going to stay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot going on. So for me, you're right. If we do go like the DeMar DeRozan route, that's literally 1 or 2 years. Or heck, even if we do DeJounte Murray.
Or Paul George. You do Paul George. Yeah. You do Paul George. You do DeMar DeRozan. It's that 1 to 2 year window.
Yeah. And then you're going to burn it all down. You're going to lose so much people. Think about it. Brunson, the way Brunson skyrocketed, you're going to cut his potential short by at least a year because in that 2 year window, one of those years, there's going to be an issue where they got to figure out what they have to do. They have to work together. Everybody already works together well now. So right. I want that 6 or 7 years of good basketball because Brunson, I want to see his ceiling. I want to see these guys laugh and joke in the locker room. They crack jokes on each other. There's a very good chemistry, and I heard Mr. Frazier say it earlier. He's like, these guys are laughing and relaxing, and they're having a good time like when we won the championship. I'm not saying that we're going to win a championship, but the camaraderie of this team, I've never seen it like this before. We've always had somebody talking smack, and then somebody get offended, somebody does something crazy. But even when Josh Hart was making a joke about iHeart, he was like, hey, he made his little joke, and iHeart came back and was like, yeah, at least we don't practice a week of kicking people in the face. Like, the fact that they can go back and forth with jokes and have a good time, I want to see this for 6 or 7 years because that would remind me of the team camaraderie from the 90s. Even though it was defense and we were that dog, we have an identity with these guys.
Okay. So you want to lock in for 6 or 7 years then? So that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I changed my mind. 6 or 7 years, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, locking in for the next 6 to 7 years with a championship contender sounds like you're restricting yourself. But what I'm framing it as making a commitment to a core group.
Yes.
Right. If you believe in a core group of guys, make a commitment to them. Right. And bringing guys to support those guys. Like and for the next 6 or 7 years, if you believe in OG, you believe in Brunson, well, bring in the subsequent parts that accentuate what you already have. Right. Even if you have to make changes on your coaching staff. And I'm not saying de-coach. Right. I'm saying make the long-term commitment if that's where you feel like you are. Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I agree. I really look. I'd rather be locked in for 6 or 7 years with this team because in the last 2 years they've shown what they can do with injuries and how we can handle in adjustments. So 6 or 7 years, and I see
basically you're establishing a culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you think, what was the last time you actually had a culture? To me, I only remember the finals of the 90s. Like, that's it. Like, and even back then, we tried to mimic it. Now we got the 3-ball incorporated with the defense that can slow people down. Keep this identity because it's something we could actually work on. Every time we had something that was a spark, we got rid of it in a year or two. Jeremy Lin, look at Melo. Melo, he got hurt, and then everybody's like, oh, we're not going to be the same. Like, we have moments of a half a season or a full season of success. Let's back this down.
Yeah, Melo, and towards the end, Melo was breaking down, man.
Yeah.
Like
And
a
then,
33-year-old Melo was not the same as a 27-year-old Melo.
and also with what you were saying, if we even get the pieces to support the guys, for example, if we find someone that can be as efficient on defense when OG is on the bench, we're still, you see what I'm saying? Like, get those young guys, build them up, and develop them to where Brunson now, we got a Brunson 1 and a Brunson 2, and then we still got McBride and Dante. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can find these guys over the 6-7 years and develop them to where they're perfect backups for these guys. And they do get older, whew, it's gonna be sweet.
Then you have the roster backfilled, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
with young guys.
Exactly.
No
And then you don't even have to use the young guys that, like, you don't have to use the veterans as often. You can give Brunson more time to rest, and then when he comes back in the game, he's just dominating. So yeah, that 6 to 7 years, you'll figure it out.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. So when it comes to that 1 to 2 year window or the 6 or 7 year window question, do you build long term with Brunson, or do you give this team just a prove it deal? Right. I think it's difficult because things in sports change quickly. And so understanding that things in sports change quickly, I think it's one of those deals where even if you do just give it the 1 to 2 year window, you're allowing yourself flexibility to keep up with the times, as opposed to if you lock in for the next 6 or 7 years, you might be doing something that may be outdated or it may be revolutionary, but you won't know until you win championships. Right. But doing the every 2 years thing where you're at least changing with the times.
But you're not.
Right.
It's like quicksand though, because
Right.
yeah, you're changing with the times, but there's no stability where you guys can actually win. Like, not every team can fall together and get these wins. Like, for example, let's look at the Bucks. The Bucks changed coaches mid-season. I don't know what they were thinking, and now we don't even know what's going to happen with them. So a lot of these quick changes and these quick jerk moves, to me, it may help you for that season or next season, but then you have to rebuild all over again, like what we did recently. Matter of fact, one of the cultures we didn't use the draft in the last few years. Now we actually have draft picks. Now we can develop our young guys. Now we have a whole new different system. So I'd rather trust that than every 2 years trying to keep up, because we've done that in the past.
Ooh, that's very insightful. Right.
And the only thing though that's negative, if you bring up Melo about that, like, oh, we locked in for Melo, we didn't build around Melo. That's the difference between then and now. Now we have the opportunity to build around Brunson, and I think that's better, because if you could get Brunson and Dante, find the guys to replace them and let them mentor them, oh man, it'll be sweet.
I agree with you. I just want to point out one thing though. Carmelo Anthony's are hard to build around. Right? So with a Carmelo Anthony, you can't have a young point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? With Carmelo Anthony, you can't have wing scorers. Because Carmelo is your point guard and your wing scorer. Right? Carmelo is 30 points a game. Right? And to get to 30 points a game, sometimes, bro, you got to take a lot of shots.
30, 40.
Yeah, and then at the same time, premier matchups when other small forwards come in to your arena, it's not even about winning at that point. Sometimes it's more about
who you think you're scoring on.
Another dog entering your yard. If you're a dog and a random dog coming to your yard, you got to prove who the big dog is, whose turf you on. Right? And that's nothing new. That's not a knock on Carmelo Anthony. That's just people's competitive juices. Right? That's like when these young dudes want to come on a panel and Cowboy Bob be up here. They be like, "Yo, man, I need to take Cowboy Bob time, man. Just give Cowboy Bob like 40 seconds, and I'm gonna tell you." And Cowboy Bob be like, "Well, wait a minute.
Hold on, dang it! I've been here since 2 years ago. What you mean?"
Yeah, man. It's those competitive juices, right? And so no disrespect to Melo, who's an all-time NBA great. He's a great person, a great role model for the most part. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Carmelo Anthony is a great role model. A great guy for the most part. Gets along with a lot of different groups of people. So I'm not throwing shade at Melo. I love Melo, right? I love Melo, right? But it's difficult. It was difficult building a team around certain player archetypes are just going to be difficult to build around, and then some are easy, right? Like Julius, it's hard to build a team around Julius Randle.
Facts.
Right? But it's very easy to build a team around Jalen Brunson. Right? It is very, very easy to build a team around Jalen Brunson because with Jalen Brunson, you already know what you want. You want complimentary stuff for Jalen Brunson. You want a big athletic guard next to Jalen Brunson if you can find it. Right? Right? You need a defensive wing player or two. You need an inside scoring presence, whether it's Hartenstein or Randall. You need a defensive-minded guard off the bench to take up those defensive assignments that Brunson don't want to take on. Right? You need a coaching staff that's going to be the brains of the operation to help Brunson. Right? And the reason why I say that is this. You've seen two different versions of the Knicks with Jalen Brunson, right? You've seen the Grimes, RJ, IQ, Obi version.
Frustrated.
And then you're watching the DiVincenzo, Hart, OG, Precious, Hartenstein version of the team for Brunson. So last year it was one version. It didn't necessarily work. This year it's another version. And on paper it looks like it's not working, but the eye test tells us that it is working. Right? I think because if you look at the record, because we may just finish this season 47-35. Well, our record right now is what? 47-32.
Thought it was 46 and no 40. Yeah, 47-32.
Right.
Yeah, 47-32.
So we were at the win total we were at last year, right? 47. So it looks like it's about the same, right? Yep. Yo, Raphael is in the building. Salute, Raphael out here doing big things. I be seeing Raphael everywhere, man. Raphael, what's good, man? Yeah, man. So it's one of those things, man, where the ball don't lie is in the building. Salute. Yeah, man. So it's one of those things, like on paper, if you just look at numbers, this year's team looks identical to last year's team, right? But I think both of us are confident enough in what we saw to know that this year's team is leaps and bounds better than last year's team.
Because we had Dante, we had Precious, like guys stepping up at the right time as opposed to last year where we were falling short and trying to figure it out and depending on ISO more and Randall or Brunson. Like,
right.
We were struggling. Now it's crazy. It's a double-edged sword. The positive is we get to see Brunson develop this well and be ready for Randall next year.
Right.
But it's starting to look like Brunson is in the direction we need to go in. Because of what you just said about how to build around him, you're right. If you got a guy like Randall's like that guy. He's an anchor. You know what I'm saying? Brunson, you can see the floor. You can see how to navigate around him. Randall, he's an anchor, man. And he's a talented one, too. But the thing is well, who are you going to – you can't find another guard that's going to be good for him. You need a lot with Randall as far as not just defense. Randall is an attacker. He's physical. Yeah. It's going to be harder to build around Randall than Brunson. But for me, I want Brunson to be our future because him, Dante – the way these guys are communicating, the way these guys are getting involved, if anything happens in the near future, I want Randall to have an impact on this team outside of just playing. Like saying, hey, we show these guys like what Steph Curry did to Dante.
Right.
Like that right there, I'm so happy he did that. Because now we got a guy who's basically third, I think, now in 3-point attempts, moved up to second.
Right. Let me excuse me on the point we were making about the it was hard to build around Melo, but easy to build around Brunson. Wiz says, I'm willing to draft a PG-13 type this draft or trade for a young prototype, then run this same team back. I think I'm okay with what Wiz said right there. Too the difficult part in all of that is being able to get a PG-13 type, because if it were easy to get that type of player,
we would have had him already.
Everybody would have one. Yeah.
And it's not even just that. That's if you're gonna draft a PG, is he gonna get the minutes? And if he gets the minutes, is he going to be successful? Because look at McBride. McBride is still struggling, and he stepped up.
Right.
So who is he going to take minutes from to where he can develop? And if he does develop, that's going to change the whole core because now they're probably going to start building around them instead of what we have. So
well, I think
back in the rebuild.
I think it's a deal where it's more backfill the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Right, backfill the roster because you're not going to replace OG Anunoby with a rookie. Yeah. At least that's not what it looks like we're going to do. Right, right. You probably want to, bring in a guy. He'll be raw. He'll be the 15th man this year. Next year he'll be the 10th man. In 2 years he'll be a stalwart in the rotation.
Yeah, but that's 4 years. You might as well stick to the 6-year plan.
No, I'm talking about in 3 seasons. So I'm talking about 3 seasons.
Okay.
Like you draft him this summer, right? He ride the pine, and then next summer he's situational, and then the year after that he's in the rotation.
That's a lot of hope for a rookie. 3 years they making it into the rotation and tips. That means they got to be defense and scoring. That's asking a lot for a rookie.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why you bring them along slow.
No, I agree with you because that would better your options as far as down the road, and it helps you with the bench to where they know what they're doing, and if somebody gets injured, you next man up. But for me to find a guy like PG, you really got to know what you're doing.
You got to hit a home run.
Yeah, like and it got to be on the first pitch fastball type. It can't be on no curveball.
Ramos says, "What about Westbrook? How you feel about him?"
I said it earlier in the year, I wanted him to back up Brunson because him running the offense, everyone's like, oh, his turnovers. I don't think Westbrook is a turnover fiend on purpose. I just think that he's one of those guys that he sees things that is ahead of his time. If you can slow it down a little bit, it'll be more accurate passing. Like he's like so fast that he's ahead of his own teammates. So if he would have come here and learned from Tibbs, like, yo, slow down a little bit, we wouldn't be having a problem because when Brunson's on the bench, Westbrook's running it. That gives floor space for McBride to actually stay open around the wing. That helps out Josh Hart with the rebounding, and he can float around as well because Westbrook don't stay in one spot. No. I would love to have him, and plus Westbrook actually is he's a good like he would train you like, yo, you're messing up here. This is where you need to be. Like he would help correct whatever issues McBride had. He also would probably help out what's his name? Dang it. Bogues is Bogdanovich as well. Because he'd be like, hey man, I'm gonna get you to this spot. You stay there and you hit the shot when I get it to you. Don't move. Like he'll help out those vets. I would have preferred Westbrook earlier in the season.
I'm gonna say. So Wilson Dang again stole my thunder. Every time, you know what? And when I see Wilson Dang, I'm just not even gonna think. I'm just gonna try to go to a blank space. So Wilson Dang stole my point, bro. If you have heart, what do you need with Westbrook? That's what I was thinking. Now I understand that when you're talking about a 6'3" do-it-all guard that rebounds at a high level, I understand when you're talking about that is impactful in the margins, right? A high assist guy. When you're talking about like the LA dudes, you know what I'm saying? High assist guy, high rebound guy, get out in transition, not a great shooter, does weird stuff on the floor. When I say all that stuff, who you think I'm talking about?
That's hard.
I'm talking about Westbrook, but they're the same guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
Yeah, bro, Westbrook makes you scratch your head so much at times, and it shouldn't really be that way for a guy that's 34 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's too smart to be like where he's at right now. I think Westbrook would have been a lot better.
I think his questionable decision making is not that he's not smart. I think he's super confident.
Yes.
Like I think he understands situations. I just think he thinks he can overcome them.
Like Bradley Beal shooting 3 balls, thinking that he's better than Steph because he shot a higher percentage. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like I don't think Josh Hart makes boneheaded plays. I just think he believes he can make any play.
Yeah. That's right? That confidence.
Yeah, like I don't think Westbrook is not a high IQ. I think he's a very, very high IQ player. I just think he believes in his athletic ability so much that he believes he can do anything.
Yep. And in a way, I hate to say it, kind of want your players to think that way because when they get into a rut or they do something, you need them to figure it out. And if they have confidence, that's the only way that they're going to thrive through anything.
Right.
It may not look good, but
yeah.
Because look at Westbrook. He averaged a triple-double for what, 4 seasons? Like
2 seasons, I think.
I thought it was 4.
The two MVP seasons, I think.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. A whole season of a triple-double, like you have to have high IQ. You have to be consistent. You have to know what you're doing and be confident in that. So for me, I like Westbrook because of his confidence and what he can do as far as mentoring. But as far as play style, I see a point with Josh Hart.
Right.
High energy, turnovers. They have that, I don't know what's going on. What do you mean? Well,
right. Really high strung.
Yeah.
High energy. Those type of guys give you everything that they have. Like the one thing you can't question about Josh Hart and Russell Westbrook is you can't ever question their motor.
Yeah.
Those dudes play hard, man. Those dudes play hard. I mean, and they play hard every minute, you know.
Like Josh Hart played 46 minutes tonight. Like,
yeah,
what? And he almost had a triple-double, 7 assists, I think 12 rebounds, and like 14 or 12 points. Can't remember.
Yeah,
that's the same thing. You're right. That is Westbrook.
Yeah, they play hard, man. What I would say is maybe a complimentary piece to Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Maybe a pepper to some salt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some jelly to some peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some peanut butter to some chocolate.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe like some garlic to some butter.
Yeah.
Maybe some honey to some mustard. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a baked potato to like a sizzling medium steak.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? So if that's the case, I would say just along those lines of thinking, what would be the complimentary piece to Jalen Brunson? The ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
Does it have to be Does it have to be an opposite type player of Brunson?
No. I'm sorry, and I know this is going to sound very far-fetched, but I see now why people say Paul George or Klay Thompson. That's the type of player you would want. Someone that when Brunson has the ball too long or he's off, they can just get it out, shoot, get down court, start up the offense, and create to where Brunson can actually, even if he's having a bad game, can find his groove in enough time to get back on groove. That's the complementary piece. I thought it would be the small forward position, but because we got OG there, I honestly think it's gonna have to be the power forward position or from the center because Brunson passing, throwing lobs, that'll help us out even more too. So for me, his complementary piece would be more of the power forward center position. We get somebody like iHeart can stay healthy and play well. That's a perfect piece for him. Guys like that, that's gonna catch the ball, go straight up with it, or give and go.
My thing with iHeart though is iHeart to me right now in this current situation we're in is not aggressive enough offensively consistently.
Agreed.
Right? With Randall out, we're going to need a presence on the inside that is a threat inside that keeps other teams' perimeter defense from just smothering us on the defense. That's my view on it. Hartenstein, make more shots, operate more out of the pinch post, do the stuff that Julius Randle did 3 years ago. If Hartenstein can do that at a Julius Randle light level, because OG's not going to do that. OG is a defensive player. It's like asking Lawrence Taylor to run the football. You don't want to do that.
Or
right?
play cornerback.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. It's like asking Aaron Judge to be a pitcher. You don't want to do that. Right? OG Anunoby, for what he is perfect in what he is for us. Right? That's what he is for us. He's in that role of a defensive combatant. And you don't want him to start thinking about all this other stuff. Oh, now I got to score 25 a game. Oh, now I got to grab 14 rebounds. Oh, now I have to get 19 assists. Nah. OG Anunoby is like the Secret Service, right? But and the Secret Service is in the White House, right? There's so many Secret Service in the White House. You're like, dang, it's more security in here than it is decision makers, right? But you don't want the Secret Service to start trying to be the president.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want the Secret Service to start trying to be, you know what I'm saying? The Secret Service are good at what they do. You know what I'm saying? So we want to keep them in that mode. But when you start asking them to like, hey, man, what do you think about such and such policy? Oh, boy. Now, not only is policy going to be messed up, but security is going to be messed up now.
That's exactly what I'm scared of. But if we can't get it in our heart, man, then I'm sorry. Yo, Josh Hart, what happened to you? I was talking about you like 3 weeks ago about you improving your three ball. You doing more in offense. Like, if anybody needs to step up, he's the only one that's proven within the last year that he can do it.
Right.
So if I'm gonna ask anyone to have that interior presence consistently, I want it from Josh Hart, or I want it from Dante. Because Dante, 2 dunks, the way he cut into the basket tonight, I was like, I didn't expect. And then him to pass that ball back out to who was it? I forgot they had that easy layup Brunson. Yeah, when Brunson passed him the ball down low, when Brunson looked up at the free throw line and just passed it right there, and Dante goes straight up. I'm like, if we can do that between them two, not saying that one has to do it 10 times, the other one got to do it 15, but create some type of balance between them two, we're good because they've done it all season. I'm not asking them to do it, iHeart to go 20 points a game. I'm asking you to just give me your 12 points and your 10 rebounds.
Okay. Yeah. I think we were in a pretty good spot, man, when it comes to Brunson. I think to getting a compliment to Jalen Brunson, Ramos. All right, bro. All right, boss.
Night.
When it comes to the Brunson compliment, I think the compliment to Brunson is probably a bigger version of Dante DiVincenzo type. Like right now, I think Dante DiVincenzo is the perfect compliment for Brunson. But if you bring in a guy, if you add more talent to the roster, the most likely upgrade is Dante's spot.
Yeah.
Because you're not bringing Brunson off the bench. You're not bringing OG off the bench. You're not bringing Randall off the bench. And if you upgrade Hartenstein or Randall, like if you go get another center, then Hartenstein and Randall, Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson got to go. Right? Because you're not going to have three centers. You're going to pay the center position $70 million a year? No.
Shaq's not in the league.
Right. Yeah. So if you bring in a replacement at center for Hartenstein or Mitch or both, you're not going to play three centers.
Yeah.
So the most likely spot, and no shade on Dante, who y'all know is my favorite Knick outside of Randall. So my three favorite Knicks right now, man, and I know the list changes, right? So I have four favorite Knicks right now. So it's Randall. Randall's my guy. Y'all know I love Dante. That's my heartstring, right? I love OG and Precious. I ain't gonna lie. I love OG and Precious. I just like them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's neither here nor there, but it does give you an insight on where my conversation goes when I generally have these conversations. Like when y'all talk about bringing in, like, when y'all say stuff like, yeah, man, go get DeMar DeRozan. I'm like, who? Where he gonna play at? I know you ain't talking about bitch Dante. You know what I'm saying?
You like in the back of the house and everybody in the kitchen whispering like, hey, did you tell what you say about me? I ain't nobody calling my name.
I know y'all ain't talking about replacing Dante.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So it's one of them things, man. Dante is my guy. But if you're talking about adding talent, then if we're speaking frank about just basketball,
yeah,
then Dante's position is the one that's probably the one that is going to be upgraded because there are more guys to fill his spot than guys that are not. And then Dante plays the spot at a complimentary level. And if you're talking about adding talent to the roster, and I mean real talent, I'm not talking about like adding somebody's, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about bringing in Alec Burks. I'm talking about like real legit NBA talent. And salute to Alec Burks, by the way, no shade on him, but I'm talking about if you're talking about bringing in a 34-year-old shooting guard, you're not going to bench Dante for that.
Facts.
So, yeah.
Plus, he's also stepped up in his 3-point shots. I'm still impressed by that. Like,
yeah,
that guy, he beat out Grimes. Still got his defense. Still doing. I'm impressed. And I hate to say it, as much as I like Dante, I think it would be good for him coming off the bench if we do bring in good talent. Because then him, Hart, McBride, they've been playing all season already.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about bringing in for him though?
Thus far, I agree with you.
DeMar DeRozan?
Nah, that one was a reach.
He's not a two. And DeMar DeRozan is not a two anymore.
Yeah.
He hadn't been a shooting guard since like 2015
Man.
or 2017, something like that. 2018, something like that. He ain't a shooting guard no more.
I agree with you with Donovan Mitchell as far as the defense and how they both would feed off of each other. But as far as shooting guards, I honestly don't know because it's hit or miss. Sometimes you'll get a good shooting guard for one season and that's it, and then they'll be off and go somewhere else and be really good. Because I still hear people talking about, oh, we should have never got rid of Quickly, or we should have never got rid of RJ. Like
Yeah.
for me, I just think that it's very hard to find a shooting guard that can complement Brunson, and the fact that we have a former teammate is good. But out in the streets, I don't think I could rely on anyone with Brunson. It's working too well right now. Why change the recipe? You know.
Right. I would, and also, um, I would say to that, um, if you're talking about adding a compliment to Brunson, I think that same player, also has to be a compliment to Randall. Right.
Damn.
So it's like the fine line that you walk. Like, do you bring in a guy that's a compliment to Brunson and not a compliment to Randall?
Ah,
That's okay, bro.
I thought about it. Desmond Bain or Herb Jones type.
Okay.
Like those two because Bain plays defense. Bain can shoot the long ball. Bain can also create and control and facilitate the ball. And the way he passes and he throw it down low to Triple J, like Bain would be good. And yeah, I'll take Bain. That'll be good for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
man.
he's gonna give you 20 points. He's gonna give you
They're
like
not giving
7
you.
assists.
They're not giving you Desmond Bain, bro.
You said with shooting guards available. I'm just thinking
He not
James.
available. Yeah, he not available, bro.
I know, I'm wishing. But Herb
Yeah,
Jones
Herb,
would be the one I'd move from
he
small
he not
forward.
available. They just signed him to a contract extension over the summer.
I know, my heart hurts. But like I said, those are the two. But like I said, that's the reason why I say it's hard for you to find a shooting guard that's going to contribute and be there. Because what's already out there is either signed or you're going to be paying a ton of money for. And right now, what we got for Dante for what, 18 million or I forgot how much we have for him. What we got him signed for, he's producing what he's producing. I'm sorry, that might be the only chip in our armor is the shooting guard spot.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Man, that's a tough. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, who do you go out and get? Because anybody you got to go out and get, you're gonna pay a premium for Murray or Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell.
Are you against paying the premium?
I'm only against it if it hurts Brunson. I'm still on Randall, and if it hurts OG.
If it hurts Brunson, we wouldn't do it, right? Because we were talking about complimenting, right?
Yeah. So if it hurts OG, that's also a compliment. I could deal with Randall not being re-signed for another year or two, but as far as OG compliments him already. So if it affects the money for OG, I wouldn't do it. But if it doesn't, and I can get those guys, yeah, I'll do it. Because at this point, like you said, we still have 2 more years. We can grow and get a championship within the 2 years time frame of a Murray or I think Mitchell signed for 3 to 4 years. So yeah,
Right.
I'll pay that price because Donovan Mitchell would be what 32 mil, 38, 35 mil, like around there.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! I'm paying him cheaper than I'm paying OG.
And DeMar DeRozan.
And DeMar DeRozan, yes, I'm and like you said, 10 years younger. Yeah, that'll be perfect because he could come in for 2 years. We win a chip. Thank you, Mitchell. We could go ahead and find somebody to go ahead and replace him. That by then it'll be easier.
Right. Yeah, I would say, man, try to bring everybody back, and no shade to Burks and Bogey, but see if you can upgrade Burks and Bogey
and Sims.
Right. Oh no, I'm not throwing Sims in there.
No, I'm saying like he's not even.
But let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought on this. Right. So see if you can bring in Burks and Bogey. Right. I mean, not bring in. I'm sorry. Dag.
My fault. You said.
See if you can upgrade Burks and Bogey. I think they combined. I think they make somewhere in the neighborhood of about somewhere in the neighborhood of about $30 million, I think. And if you add like a small salary to that, that's Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? Is it possible?
Yes.
And Wiz says, I think any one of them can be had for 3 or 4 picks and plus Bogey. And yeah. Right. My thing is teams are not gonna get a taste of success and then trade their young talent. It's not what teams do, bro. Teams don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. For trade for okay, so for Herb Jones, like if if New Orleans called the Knicks and said, hey man, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, and Trey Murphy, you know who they'd be looking for?
Brunson, Dante.
Brunson.
Yeah.
Right? Do we want to add Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy to a front court that already has OG Anunoby and Julius Randle and then not have a point guard? So we'll be trading our all NBA point guard to New Orleans for 3 guys that in theory are going to come off the bench or present an odd lineup, right? Because Brandon Ingram, even though he's 6'8", 190, he's not a shooting guard. He's a small forward. Trey Murphy at 6'8", 225, he's a shooting guard now because he's young. But in 3 years or so, is he going to be a shooting guard or is he going to be in that small forward mix? Now, Herb Jones the same. Herb Jones is 6'7". Herb Jones can defend shooting guards all night, right? Right? I mean, think about the defense. Think about your defense with Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Mitchell Robinson, and OG Anunoby and Deuce McBride. Think about that defensive lineup. Bro, a team might not be able to get the ball across half court.
But we may not be able to score that easy either.
Yeah, we'll be beating. We legit will beat teams. We'll be beating teams 70 to 49, right? But we won't have an all-world point guard. To get something, you got to give something.
Yeah, that's too big of a risk.
Maybe we can use those draft picks that we have to find a Trey Murphy, right? Trey Murphy was the 17, 18 pick in the draft. I think he was like the 17th pick in the draft. Herb Jones was a second-round pick. So maybe we can use our late draft capital and find guys that are complementary, that do those things that those 2 guys do, right, to complement. But I don't know if there is a world where the Knicks should even consider moving OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, or Jalen Brunson.
Agreed.
Because the world before Cowboy Bob, you remember what the world was like as a Knicks fan before we had Julius Randle, before we had OG Anunoby, before we had Jalen Brunson?
Yes.
Well, we had Emmanuel Mudiay at point guard.
Yep. It was always like they're saying 300. The arrows block the sun. That was our days. Arrows in the sky.
Yeah.
Just standing there taking the blade.
So many arrows, it would have blot out the sun. Yep. I remember that from 300. That's one of my favorite ones, bro.
But that's what our days were. Dark days. We had no sunlight.
Yeah.
But Randall, thank God, man. If we keep all 3, damn, it'd be sweet. That's what I'm saying. I want to see a championship with this team, but I want it to be breaded correctly. I don't want it to be rushed and thrown in and we say, hey, we took a couple of apples off the tree, blended it, and we made applesauce. Nah, let's find the recipe and actually do this correctly.
Right. Indeed. You got anything real quick before we get out of here?
No, just want to wish everybody good night. Thank you for having me on. But I'm always here, man.
Hey,
go New York, go New York, go.
So 2 things. The thing I'm getting behind the scenes is every time Josh Hart plays good, IKBM Dre is nowhere to be found.
And I come on.
Yep. And every time Deuce McBride has a game where he's missing, Wiz never comes on anybody's live stream.
I actually see Wiz in the comment section now.
Yeah, every time Deuce McBride has a meh game, then Wiz is like, but I had responsibilities. Yeah. I got you. I got you. Shout out to, before we get out of here, shout out to the greatest borough that God ever created, the Bronx, New York. Shout out to Jersey. Salute to Jersey. Salute to Staten Island. Salute to Manhattan. Salute to Queens. And
UConn, congratulations.
And yeah, UConn, congratulations on everything, man. Yeah, man. Cowboy Bob, thank you for hanging out with me tonight, man. I'm gonna try to do the Knicks morning drive in the morning. Yesterday it was weird. Just had a whole bunch of stuff going on at the same time, man. So I had a conflict. Knicks freestyle today at some point. I think we can do the Big Boss Man roundtable also. So gonna try to get some stuff done. Thank y'all everybody for rocking. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we out of here, y'all. Peace.